dropped off the garrison of Marines who, at Cebu City, which was completely destroyed, but these Marines' purpose of being there was to separate the Japanese. Well, this was before the war ended. That was one of our trips, not called an invasion, but it was a liberation, helped to liberate the Philippines. The armistice was on, again, on the 15th of August. And then on the 28th of August, we were assigned to the Magic Carpet. Now, the Magic Carpet was to transport those with points back to the United States. And the point system, the longer person was overseas in the battles that he was in, were the first to go. However, before we brought anybody back to the States, we had to go to Jensen, Korea, and that dropped off some younger Marines for mostly, I don't know, in Korea they had to be sort of guards. Then we went back to the Philippines after that, and then at that time we were informed on October 6th to report back to San Francisco. And before that, we stopped at Sasebo in Japan, which is none of the crew got off there, but some of the officers went ashore up to Nagasaki to see the damages that were done there. Came back to San Francisco, dropped off that, and then left San Francisco and went back to the Hawaiian Islands, and the Hawaiian Islands back to Ulysses, and Ulysses back to Jensen, Korea. And then from Jensen, Korea, we went to Shanghai, China, and went up the Yellow River. And there is when we took aboard all the ones that were been in service since 42 and 43 and 44, all those soldiers and Marines and sailors that had enough points at that time. And then we brought those back to United States. Then we went back out again and went to the Hawaiian Islands and again picked up additional ones in the Philippines. We did run into one of the worst typhoons that ever occurred in this. There, we had to travel 100 miles away from the center of the typhoon. And of course, because we had a flat bottom, almost flat bottom, because I told you the depth of our was only 7.5 feet. Well, on that, our ship would, and the waves were mountainous high, not big swells, and our ship would lift out of the water, and when it would slap down, the twin screws would come out, and the whole ship would shake and went up and down and up and down. It was, you would think the ship, how the ship was managed to stay not from breaking in half was a real experience. So, well, I'll tell you, we had, in the 14 months that I was at sea, we covered over 100,000 miles. We arrived and departed from 42 bases. Now, some of them were like Okinawa. We were in Okinawa 4 times. We were in Jensen, Korea twice, in Saipan once, in Japan once, and in the Solomon Islands, and Eniwetok a number of times, and of course down across the equator in Espiritu Santos and New Hebrides. And then on our last trip, then we brought back people with point system. And when we got back at Swan Island, and Treasure Island, then we debarked all the ones with points. And I then had enough points. At that time, I had 26 points. So then I was able to be discharged. So at that time of discharge, the Navy asked if there was anybody would like to volunteer for the Crossroads. And the Crossroads was the ships that were to participate in the atomic bomb. And all the volunteers aboard our ship that I did volunteer. I wanted to get home. It was 2 years was enough on the sea. And then we went back to Great Lakes, and we were there for about 2 weeks, and then we were sent home and got our compensation pay, our mustering pay, and spent most of that, you know, because I think when we mustered out, I think it was $128, and so I didn't have too much of that when I got home. But anyway, it was a pleasure to get back home again. Oh yeah, you called. Well, yeah, call. Yeah, tell them when you're going to be home and what approximately what time the train would be there and so forth. Yeah. I'll tell you, for the experience that I had in the Navy, that we didn't have any soldiers that were killed. 2 of them had shrapnel that was taken, and when we were aboard ship at Iwo Jima, we got close to 1,000 yards, and we took on shell fire, and 2 of the sailors did receive shrapnel, but we didn't lose any sailors, and our ship wasn't damaged, which was a blessing in disguise. And because of all the problems that going through the war years and so forth, and then after. And of course, you're always nervous, and during the before the armistice and Armistice Day, and the day the Japanese surrendered, but you're always under some type of pressure because of the number of so many. At Okinawa, we were at our battle stations for almost 24 hours at a time, and of course, being a cook, nobody ate at that time and so forth. So it was very, very nerve-wracking. But of the 14 months, then I didn't figure that out. But from June 26th to August of 45. Was quite nerve-wracking because of our going first of all from San Francisco unescorted in the chances of running into a submarine at that time knew that we were at sea and we were in the war, and then going from Pearl Harbor to Saipan with just the 2 of us was also a very nervous thing. But after the armistice, it was enjoyable. The Navy was very enjoyable. And 42 years later, I learned of the fate of the USS Carteret, and it was taken down to the Bikini Islands.
This is Bikini. It is here that the military and scientific personnel of Joint Task Force 1 will conduct the tests with the atomic bomb. The bomber is over the target. The bomb is away, and 1 second to go. Five, four,
3, 2, 1, fire.
And they dropped a bomb with battleships and cruisers and destroyers. They had a German battleship there and a Japanese destroyer or two, and they dropped the first bomb 500 feet below the water. And our ship was stationed about 22 miles out from the center of the bomb. And then the ones that were aboard ship were taken off because we were so close, and then the next day they brought our sailors back to the ship, and they had to eat the food and drink the water that was aboard the Carteret. And then they dropped the second bomb, which was 500 feet or 1,000 feet above the convoy or large group of ships that were there. And our ship stood up just in a remarkable shape. Our whole side was burnt out, they tell me, and from the information I got. And then they did the radiation and Gami detections on the sailors and on the ships, and in most instances the needle couldn't go no further. And they ate the food and drank the water again. And then our ship then after that was towed by USS Toledo and sunk by gunfire. And that was the end of the ship. Now, on that, we had reunions for almost 60 years after Iwo Jima, and a couple of the sailors that were on the ship had children before they went aboard ship, and after they got on, one of them had 3 children, and all 3 children had a disability, and it was. And our captain, who was in the Navy for 31 years, died of brain cancer and lung cancer because of the radiation. And I think all the ones that participated there ended up with some kind of type of cancer. So it was kind of devastating, and